Corey Hudson, who will share his story with all of us. Welcome, Corey. For you, Corey. Have a seat next to me. We're gonna get a chance to learn about Corey because Corey has something really interesting, and you got something that you started called Hearts of Strangers, and it's a bit of homework on you, and it's a really fascinating story. But I'd love for you to share with the audience, first of all, what Hearts of Strangers means, and secondly, how did it start and why?
I'll start with the how and why, because I think that leads to what Hearts of Strangers is. The how and why is about almost 3 years ago, I was in the throes of one of the most brutal depressions I had been in my life, using drugs, alcohol, painkillers, anything that I could get my hands on to avoid the grief, the anxiety, and the pain that I was feeling. And I ended up in a very dark and hopeless place, and found myself suicidal, and ended up in the hospital for about 10 days. I was in the psych ward. And I had been in that place in my life several other times throughout my teenage years and in my younger 20s. But for some reason, this time was very different. It felt like I was becoming a new person, having some sort of metamorphosis. I realized looking around the psych ward on the third day that we're all human beings, and that we all experience pain and suffering in different ways and at different times in our lives. And there was no mask anymore between me and the people around me. We were all vulnerable, we were all suffering, and we were all sort of ashamed. So I started to share my story just to bring some comfort to others who were there, who I recognized, were feeling really guilty and ashamed of where they were.
So you were revealing yourself.
Yeah.
You were unmasking the person that you were covering.
Absolutely. I could no longer hide. My family knew that I was struggling. They knew where I was at that point in my life. And that was something that I had kept from everyone, especially people who were close to me. Whenever things got really challenging in my life, I would sort of push the closest people to me away to protect myself and
to avoid sharing.
Yeah.
To avoid having them see who you really are.
Yeah.
I would assume.
There was a lot of shame and fear of judgment and things like that. But I found in just really being exposed and being vulnerable that it was probably my greatest gift, because it made other people feel comfortable in opening up and sharing.
And that created
That's what
Hearts of
created
Strangers?
Yeah.
So through your pain and through your struggles, Hearts of Strangers was created. I know behind you we're seeing some wonderful images, which are your images, correct?
Oh wow, yeah, I've never seen them in that size before.
So you're technically not a photographer that is now, for the imagery that we're seeing behind you, has taken photography and turned it into Hearts of Strangers, which is sharing stories.
Yes, it's a platform for people to share where they are in their lives. I started photographing just random objects about 5 years ago when I lost my job at Yale. And after I came out of the hospital, I wanted to do something meaningful with my photography and to incorporate inspiring quotes with that. And a friend of mine put me on the track of connecting with strangers on the street and asking them what they were grateful for. And what I found in asking people what they were grateful for was that they were sharing what led them to be grateful, which were stories of hardship, stories of recovery, stories of loss. And I knew that I needed to create a platform for that because these stories had value, and these were the things that were inspiring people and that people could relate to. So I created a Tumblr blog, and I called it Hearts of Strangers. I didn't spend a lot of time on the title. And I started asking people about their fears. I started asking people about their challenges and peeling away the layers and looking at that. What did you learn from it? How did you cope with it? Because I knew that there was someone on the receiving end that needed to know that they were not alone, that there was hope, and to maybe take some lessons or some tools from that and apply it to their own life.
So do you think that the people that you photograph, because it's really fascinating, by the way, I have a great point of view right now as I'm actually looking at you, hearing you, and seeing your images. So the storytelling of what's happening as I see the images are beautiful.
Thank you.
And some people are smiling, and some people you see a little sadness in their eyes. But I mean, all of us in this entire environment right now have, like as I said earlier, have had and have struggles.
Absolutely.
And I'd be curious to know what you think the photography that's been taken of them, which I'm sure you've shown them, have they learned anything from Hearts of Strangers that has changed their lives?
Absolutely. What I realized was that it was giving them an opportunity to communicate to their friends, their family, things that they had never shared before and that they were never comfortable sharing before. So it was giving them an opportunity to also take off their masks in a safe and comfortable way, and it was creating meaningful connections with people in their life and with strangers. I organized an event to release my first book and a Kickstarter campaign to raise money to set out across the country. And what I realized when I did this was that people were meeting each other who had read each other's stories, and they felt an instant connection with one another. So it was building a community. And from that, it's evolved to events where I bring people together in a variety of different activities to help them connect in meaningful ways where they can be compassionate and empathetic towards one another. There's no judgment. It's okay to cry. It's okay to laugh. It's okay to be human. And that is a safe space.
That's wonderful. I mean, what would be the message that you would give to everybody in this space that they can learn from your struggles and your experience? Because you're now in such a more positive place. You're such in a more happy environment for yourself.
Yeah.
That I think it's important for them to hear from you, from someone that's been through that.
Absolutely. Well, I will share this. Coming up on 3 years, clean and sober. I'm no longer... I'm not on any medication for depression or anxiety. I'm the happiest I've ever been in my life.
Yes.
And I have the least amount of stuff. I changed my career in the last 3 years. And I'm on a path to, sitting here tonight is a clear indication of, just following my path, listening to my heart, and my dreams coming true. So the message I would give all of you is that I think that there's a critical voice inside all of our heads that says, who do you think you are? You're not good enough, you're not smart enough, you're not young enough, you're not thin enough, you're not whatever it is. And we listen to that voice. And so at some point in our lives, we start to repress everything that we got excited and passionate about as children or as teenagers, and we think somehow it's out of our reach. The biggest gift that you can give to this world is to be who you are. And that takes courage, and it takes vulnerability, and you have to practice authenticity. But that's it, that's the secret. Be who you are. The world is ready for you. They're so ready for you. It would be such a shame to leave this world and not have shared who you are and what's inside you. And I think that's different for everybody. We all have a gift to use. And it doesn't mean that we have to hide our pain or our suffering or our challenges. Use that, recycle it, use that as fuel to empower you. I had no idea how I was going to get to this career that I'm in now. I knew by age 40 I wanted to not be a chef and working in a kitchen anymore. I wanted to help people where they were and do it in any way that they felt comfortable expressing themselves. And here I am, I'm doing it. And that's amazing. It feels amazing.
The success of your journey, we would like to gift you with a Harborview suite at the Del Mar Hotel in Greenwich. So you can sit back and relax and enjoy where you have come and where you will be going. That is so important. And I think what he has said, Corey has said so clearly, is the simplicity, the authenticity in being yourself. If all of us did not have a fear that was blocking our futures, we would all be so much happier, because fear, as I have been talking about this as I've been traveling, fear comes to children from adults. Fear is not given to a child unless they're told or they're shared that they should be fearful of something. So we, as a parent of a younger child, it's important that we protect our children from fear and not letting them think that they can't have joy, because joy is the medicine to all the success that we can have. Corey, it's been an honor to have you here.